We're watching a silent crisis play out in mirrors and selfies. Men who are searching their reflections for proof that they matter. At first, it looks like self-care, but it quickly turns into something darker. It's called looksmaxing. And for more and more men, it's not just about looking good. It's about feeling enough at any cost. But this isn't really about aesthetics or even attraction. What I see underneath it is pain, shame, a quiet desperation to feel like you matter. I often work with men who are caught in this spiral, not because they're vain, but because they're silently hurting. On the surface, looksmaxing sounds pretty reasonable. Improve your skin, fix your posture, lift some weights. And those are all healthy foundations to a good life. But the issue isn't in the habits. It's in the mindset that's driving them. For many guys, it becomes an obsession, not with health, but with worth. Not with growth, but chasing an unattainable top 1% status. And that's where it gets dark. Fillers, implants, facial hacking. Online forums telling men that they're subhuman if they don't look a certain way. This isn't about becoming your best self. It's about believing that you're unlovable until you meet an artificial standard. And that belief is crushing a lot of men. So why now? Why are so many men chasing this? Well, the first is social media. You're not just seeing the best looking guy at your school anymore. You're seeing the top 0.01% every day. And second is that the algorithm rewards beauty, especially on apps like TikTok, because the better you look, the more views you get. But it goes deeper. A lot of guys feel lost right now, disconnected. We're living in a time where masculinity feels confusing. And post-pandemic, there's even more isolation than there was before. More guys that are stuck in their heads. And looks become the one thing that they can control. If I just fix my face, maybe then I'll be enough. But it's a trap. This isn't just insecurity. I've talked to guys who've obsessed over their reflection, who spiral from a single unflattering selfie. I know men who skip dates over a pimple, or others that avoid eye contact or hide in hoodies, convinced that they're not worthy of being seen. This is deeper than confidence. It's identity. They believe that their value lives in their looks. And when they don't measure up to that fantasy, they crumble. This isn't vanity. It's a vain solution to a real problem. The deep, aching fear of being unworthy. It's body dysmorphia, anxiety, depression, loneliness masked as self-improvement. Because when your self-worth is tied to your appearance, every mirror will become a battlefield. And even if you hit your goal look, it will never fill that hole that's deep inside, because it was never really about looks. These guys aren't chasing vanity. They're chasing survival. And most aren't trying to be influencers. They're just tired of feeling invisible, tired of rejection, tired of being overlooked. And somewhere along the way, they started to believe that if I just looked better, well, then maybe I'd finally matter. That's the wound. And these online spaces, they don't heal it. In fact, they often make it worse. They tell you if you weren't born elite, you'll never be loved, and that women only care about jawlines and height, and that your only hope is to somehow hack your biology. That isn't confidence. It's really quiet desperation in disguise. And if you internalize it long enough, you'll start to disappear. not physically, but emotionally, spiritually. You stop showing up. You'll stop trying. You'll just check out. The real issue isn't your face. It's your value system. I really like how Mark Manson shares it in his book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, where he says that if you measure your worth by things that you can't control, like your height, your bone structure, how strangers react, you're setting yourself up to lose. But if you shift your metrics towards honesty, courage, presence, emotional intelligence, you'll start to reclaim your power, because you're no longer asking, am I enough? You're defining what enough means. So where do you go from here? Well, there's 4 shifts that can change everything, and they're not just mindset tweaks. They're really about rewiring your values. The first thing you can do is to reclaim your self-worth. You were never meant to earn your value with your face, because real worth isn't built on symmetry. It's built on how you move through the world. Are you honest when it's hard? Do you show up when no one's watching? Can people count on you, not to perform, but to be real? That kind of value, it grows with every decision that you make. You'll start to build a stack of evidence that proves that you're worthy, and no algorithm can measure it. So start to ask yourself, what do I really value? Do I want to be seen, or do I want to be respected? Do I want quick admiration, or to have lasting impact? These questions will start to change everything. Because the moment that you value depth over surface, you'll start winning a different game. The second thing that you can do is to train your body for strength, not for status. Don't stop training, but start to shift while you're doing it. Train to be grounded and capable and resilient, not to impress others, but to withstand hard times. Because 6-pack abs mean nothing if you're anxious, ashamed, and directionless. Work out because it clears your mind, because it gives your discipline dignity. Forget the filters and build strength that lasts. The third thing that you can do is start to learn more skills and build something that matters. A sharp jawline might catch attention, but it won't keep it. And what does? Being emotionally intelligent. Being somebody that can build, lead, and listen without needing to dominate the space. So start learning skills that make you useful, both for yourself and to others. Skills that make you trustworthy. Because if all you bring is your face, what happens when that fades? The fourth thing that you can do is to surround yourself with men who see you. You need mirrors, men who can reflect back the truth. Guys who call you out when you're hiding or avoiding shit in your life. Who remind you what you stand for, not what you're chasing. Because if your circle rewards shallow wins, you'll keep playing a shallow game. So find a brotherhood, men around you who see your depth, and cut the content that feeds all your insecurity. Because remember, the people who truly love you won't care about your jawline. They'll care about your word and how you show up. One final thing. If you're short and you believe women only want tall men, you've already lost. Not because of your height, but because of the metric that you're using. You're using a shallow ruler to measure deep worth. So I encourage you to start valuing what you can actually develop. Your character, your depth, emotional presence. That's ultimately what will build lasting connection. And start to notice the kind of people that you attract when you lead with those traits. It's different. You don't need to compete with the Chads. You need to become a man who knows what he stands for. Because when you live like that, grounded, clear, and real, people won't care how you look. They'll feel how you live, and they'll want to be around you. Ultimately, Looksmaxing sells a lie. If you fix your face, you'll fix your life. But your life isn't broken because of your face. You're struggling because you were never taught how to see your own worth. And if that lands somewhere, don't scroll past this. Say something. And just know that you're not alone. There's a different path. One that doesn't start with filters or fillers, but instead starts with depth, self-respect, and truth. If that resonates, you're in the right place. And I've got more videos on building real confidence, emotional strength, and a grounded sense of self-worth. So if you're ready to stop performing and start becoming the man that you're here to be, hit subscribe because we're just getting started. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Stu Murray signing off, and we'll see you next week.